Yeah, it's yeah, it's nice to be here again. And this time I am not reviewing any book. So it's afternoon here. Do tell me where you are joining from, and if it is afternoon, morning, or evening, where you are joining. Today I'm not reviewing book. I am talking about something very interesting. I think it's one of the favorite things I love to talk about. That is why I am here and I want to talk about it. Maybe along the line I might bring one or two books. If you are new to my channel, I recommend books, I review books. Basically, I help parents raise children a book lover. So all you need to do is stick around to the end because this topic I'm about to discuss is a very, very important one. And you can just drop something on the chat for me if there is any book you would like me to talk about in the future, or just questions concerning children, reading, and parenting tips generally. So thank you, and I'm glad to be here today. So what is the topic? Today I'll be discussing foreign books versus African books. Should a child read only foreign storybooks, or does African storybooks matter? What do you think, guys? A lot of adults, African adults, grew up reading foreign stories because they were so beautiful. I think back then there was this belief that since you are around, you don't need to read things around you. You need to read about other places. Don't get me wrong. I am not disputing foreign stories. They are great reads. In fact, looking at their textures, their picture quality, top notch. They are so beautiful. Some of their titles too very captivating. They are full. They teach children imagination. They teach language. They even help children develop their vocabulary. I've benefited a lot from reading foreign books. And sometimes too, some of them, the quality of their print qualities are top notch, that the child will be captivated by just merely looking at the book. So foreign stories, they are very good. Till now, I read it and I still recommend that parents get foreign story books for their children. So this topic, or this discussion, is about the importance of inculcating African story to the lives of your children. Why should children read African story? Why should they not just read foreign stories? Are there benefits? Is there something that they will get from reading African stories? So this is what this discussion is all about. So stick around till the end, and don't forget to let me know where you are joining from, or do let me know if there is any book you would want me to talk about. So back to the topic: why should children, African children, or even children who are not Africans, why should they read African story? So basically, when a child reads a story, or there are a lot of things children will gain from who are Africans when they read African stories. First is this: when a child reads a story and sees him or herself in that story, there is this joy, there is this relaxation, there is this feel that a child gets when he or she reads a story and he sees him or herself in that story. It makes them relax, it makes them want to know more about the story. So, starting from the title, imagine a child sees a storybook titled Timmy and the Barber, and the child's name is Timmy. You know what that means? The child will want to read that story. Or a child sees a story that talks about a place that the child is familiar with. Believe me, the child will want to read that story. So a child needs a story that where he or she will see himself or herself in. It could be the name, his or her name, places he's familiar with, or food, culture, or things that he or she have seen before. So when a child sees books that contain these things, the child will naturally want to read that book. So if you're a parent and your child is reluctant about books, One of the reasons is because most of the stories or most of the books your child have seen, they are too abstract. A child needs to see a book that he or she can relate to. If you can get a book that contains your child's name or have your child's name, your child will definitely want to read that book. So look for a book that has a child can relate to. A book that contains something that your child is familiar with, your child will be interested in this. And for African children, African stories are great reads. Children will see themselves in the pictures. They will see pictures of boys on a low cut. They will see pictures of girls on cornrow or even braids. And some of them are even carrying braids themselves. So it is easier for them to relate to these pictures because they see it. So first, African stories give children opportunity for them to see themselves in the story. They see a picture of themselves. Sometimes they even see their names. Now let's talk about food or culture. What does African stories do, or how does it solve that problem? When children read African stories, they get to see their food. They even see some things in their environment in that book, and they'll be so eager to read it. So let me share this experience. I was reading this story, The Akara Boy. Yeah, that's the Akara Boy. I was reading this Akara Boy story by Karachi Atia with a group of children, and I asked them, "Have you seen Akara before?" All of them agreed, and they were eager to know what is Akara doing in the book. That was the first point. Seeing something they were familiar with attracted them. They got to know that, oh, the book is talking about Akara, and guess what? 50% of their class, akara was their favorite thing to eat. So they were interested because the book was talking about akara and that was their favorite. The second thing was some of the scenes in that book, the book contains downfall buses and a lot of them were living in Lagos. So they had seen downfall buses. It was another appealing thing for them. They saw scenes or that they were familiar with. They were just eager. They were just listening. They were just watching as I read that story. So they saw scenes they were familiar with, they saw food type they were familiar with, and that made them to get curious and interested in that reading. So aside from seeing themselves, seeing pictures of scenes or places they know in the book is another thing that gets children interested in reading. And aside from just seeing themselves, they also learn something. So while reading that book that day, those kids they learned that aside from frying akara and eating it with ogi, according to that book, there are so many things you can do with akara. That was an extra knowledge for them. And the akara boy moved from Lekki toll gate to so many locations. Some of them they've not been to Lekki toll gate, which was in Lekki on the island of Lagos. It was opportunity for some of them to know where Lekki toll gate is, and for some of them, they heard that for the first time. And after seeing the picture, I know they will be eager to know where is Lekki Toll Gate located in Lagos. And that is teaching children their environment. They might be around, but they don't know the environment. So African stories opens our children's eyes to places, things around us that they do not know. So the book talked about Akara drawing their attention, mentioned doubtful birds, yeah, still keeping their curiosity, then mentioned places that some of them have not been to, like the Lekki Toll Gate, even some shopping malls that some of them have not been. They get to know that there is a place called Lekki Toll Gate in Lagos. There is also a place, some shopping malls on the island that some of them have not been to, which was something that kept them till we finished reading that book. Is there another thing? African stories also talk about some heroes and heroines in Africa. A lot of children know about Cinderella. Yeah, they also know about Peppa Pig. Fine. But we also have some heroes and heroines in Africa that they do not know about. So they end up thinking that the only place where we have heroes are abroad, not knowing that we also have them. We had them here and we can still have them. Okay. So just a quick one. from. So that is it. So there are some heroes or some great persons in Africa that our African stories expose children to or make them get to meet. They know that over there are snowmen, there are Cinderellas, and there are so many heroes. We also have people, great persons in Africa, even in Nigeria. We have Chinua Achebe, we have Queen Moremi, we have Queen Amina, and so many heroes and heroines in Nigeria. If they don't get to read African stories, it might be hard for them to meet these people. They just end up knowing people they might never get to meet or places they might never get to be to all their life. Don't get me wrong. I am not condemning foreign stories at all. I am only saying that balance is key. While we introduce our children to foreign books, it is also important that we make them read our African books. Let them get to know our roots, our culture, places in our environment, because that is even one of the key things that will draw a child's attention to a storybook. Seeing that there are familiar things in the book is one way to draw a child's attention to a storybook. And that is what a lot of parents need. So let's take this again. Buy foreign storybooks. Yes, that is very important. Should you also buy African books? Yes, it is a must. You should do that. And thankfully, Nigerian authors are doing a lot lately. Nigerian authors, publishers, they are doing a lot lately. There were times back then that when you see foreign books, when you see Nigerian books, they look inferior compared to their foreign counterparts. But lately, there are amazing, beautiful African stories written by Nigerians, some other parts of Africa, South Africa, and the rest. There are so many beautiful ones that if you don't even look at the title of the name of the author, you will never believe that these books were written by Nigerians. I'm going to show you a couple of them. They are so beautiful. Their print qualities are top notch. The pictures very beautiful. So if a child is reading it, the child will not even know that these books are local books, local unquote. So look at some of this, something like this, the Akara Boy. The Akara Boy has is I describe the book as an African version of the gingerbread man story. So if your child has read the gingerbread man story, Akara Boy is a must read. The book is beautiful. Can you see the shape of the book? Can you see the picture quality? Look at some of the pictures. The print quality is top notch. I love this book. This is an African story. We also have this one. This is another African story. There are so many beautiful African stories that have the same quality and feel like the foreign stories we used to have back then. So your child is not going to miss anything. The same thing, but this time the the type of writing or the pattern is different. Your child gets to know his or her root, the languages spoken, people there, and some places around where your child might be there but never knew those things are there. All right. So what should you do now as a parent, knowing that African stories are important as the foreign books we know? What do you think you should do? First thing, each time you want to buy storybooks, ensure that you add at least a copy of an African story to your collection. If you're buying 2 or 3 storybooks, add one African storybook. In that way, your child gets to know about life over there and also get to know more about where he or she is. You are raising a balanced child, a total child, not a child that knows much about a foreign land without knowing about where he or she is living. So get storybooks, but make sure that each time you're getting a storybook, add 1 or 2 copies of an African story, and you'll be wowed at the connection and how proud your child is reading a book where he sees him or herself in the story. So these are some of the collections. Like I've said, there are so many of them out there, and more are still coming. And on this channel, I promise that I'll be talking about them, I'll be reviewing them, just to give you insight into what some of them look like. And you'll be glad you did. Okay, so I've talked about the Akara boy, where the children saw Akara. They also saw some things like Danfo and some places they would like to be. And this one, Mayowa and the Masquerade, yeah, I think while reading it, we saw a place, a location, just not too far from Lagos, but the city is not a popular one. And the children were happy that they identified that place. So for me, foreign books are great reads. African stories are also great reads too. So don't deprive your child the opportunity of knowing what is in African stories by avoiding them entirely. While you grab foreign stories, please endeavor to also grab African stories, because there are a lot in stock for children. All right. I'm enjoying this, and I wish to keep talking and talking about the importance of storybooks. Did I also mention that while reading our story, did our children get to know the names of some things around them that we don't commonly talk about? The names or things we don't talk about often, places, meaning of names, even meaning of names. Why reading, children will want to know these things, because some of these conversations don't even come up naturally or come up during conversations at home. But during while reading a book, is opportunity for children to come and bring up these topics, and we talk about them. So I'm of the opinion that if you have two books at home, one should be a foreign book and the second one should be an African story. All right. So it's been a nice time with you. I enjoyed myself, and I believe that I have convinced you that an African story is good for your child. So get one, add one to your library collection, and your child will thank you, not just later, even now. Okay. So in my next appearance, on my next live session, I'll be reviewing another African story. I'll tell you what the book is all about and how to go about reading that book to your children. So just to also tell you that I am not just preaching about getting African story. I also have foreign stories in my collection, and I hope you know. I had shown you some of the African collection. I also want to show you some of the foreign books in my collection. This is a foreign book. This is not an African book. Um, there are quite a lot of them too. This is also a foreign book. So I don't just read only African stories to children. I also read foreign books to them, but I make sure there is a balance. And the balance is read an African story and read a foreign story. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining me. And if you're going to watch this after this live, make sure you click on the subscription button and drop a comment for me. That will help me to know what to do in my next video. It's really amazing having you. Thank you so much, and I look forward to doing this next time. Bye.